Hello and welcome to our podcast, The 21st Century Education. Today we are going to talk about future digital classrooms and what those look like to two individual teacher candidates, Erica Peladeau and Sydney Sholdice. So I guess we'll just get started with our first topic, which is sharing learning materials. Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure, I can start. So Erica had some really interesting things here. So to share learning materials, she wanted to use learning management systems. So this could be a Google Drive or a OneDrive, and she wanted to post links or videos, documents into these folders, and she can organize it through subjects. She also, and I think that this is really cool, I haven't heard of it, found Kami. So it's an online website and it's a great tool to be used in the classroom. It is compatible with Google Drive and Google Classroom, and teachers are able to share materials, assign tasks, and use whiteboard features online and offline.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sydney also had similar ideas in terms of learning management systems. So her first point, it's a good way to not overcomplicate the materials that are being shared. It's all in one place. You can post content, you can post grades, you can post announcements, and it all goes into one place. So it's easily accessible for all students. Another point that she made was platforms like Edsby, there's different folders where you can put these lesson plans and resources into place so that students can easily find those as well.
Wow, this is so cool. Okay, let's move on to collect and assess evidence of student learning. So Erica thought that she would choose an LMS for this. So by using an LMS, she thought she'd be able to accept any form of assessment. So websites, Google Slides, presentations, OneDrive, presentations, PDF. And she thought that this would be a great way to cater to students' needs and interests. She actually didn't just choose one thing for this. She thought shared spaces would be great. So Google Drive, because it allows easy access to all members and it's an easy way to give direct feedback. Students can also refer back to it. And she also looked at Seesaw. Seesaw is really cool. I have used this before. It's
Okay.
awesome. So especially just trying to look at, she said she loves the ideas of using portfolios, summative assessments, and plans to learn more about the platform.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had never heard of Seesaw before, so that's really interesting. I'd love to learn more about that. So Sydney, we have here, she would also use an LMS like Edsby. Everything's in one space. Once again, it's very organized. For instance, when teachers create an assessment, it just automatically adds to the class feed, the calendar, the gradebook, everything. So it's all in one place so that students can easily access them. There's a control panel that lists assignments and units, and students can easily find those as well. There are so many different ways to collect the data. Like you can you can see the rubric there. You can see the weight of each assignment. The data comes up in graphs and in charts, so the teacher can collect evidence from there. And then Sydney also suggested using shared spaces, such as Google Drive. Once again, just like Erica, to easily share their work with their peers or with their teacher. They can create different folders, and there are so many tools available to them within the platform that they can demonstrate their learning in really unique ways.
That is so cool. I
Yeah.
love it. So next, we have create collaborative learning opportunities. So Erica wanted to use collaborative web applications, and she actually got to use some in her placement. So Google Classroom she used, and she had them collectively work on slideshows and shared documents. She also made a virtual handout in the form of slides presentation and had them work in small groups, fill in the blank, complete the activity. She also loved the idea of using applications such as Flipgrid and Padlet, where students are able to comment on each other's postings. This is so cool. I love Flipgrid too. It's just so great and easy. Students can put their videos online, their whole class can see it. You can comment, you can like. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're seeing another similarity here with Sydney's profile as well. So she likes collaborative web applications as well. And she mentions Flipgrid, which is awesome, and Canva, actually, which students can make infographics with and other visuals to help with their demonstration. And so with these applications, they can collaborate and view each other's content, which is awesome. It's a great it's great when they can work together on something from anywhere at any time, right? Whether it be at home or in the classroom. And then Sydney also mentions FaceTime, Teams, Google Meets, and other video call applications because they're really great for meeting with peers. And I think the pandemic has definitely brought something good in terms of these meeting platforms, these platforms for us to schedule meetings and really collaborate with one another when we can't in person. So I think that's great.
Oh, yes, I would really agree. The pandemic has definitely sped along technology in the
Yeah.
school setting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a great thing as well. In terms of student portfolios, so going back to, I think you mentioned Seesaw earlier with Erica, but Sydney also mentioned Seesaw here for building student portfolios. It allows students to take pictures, videos, they can design and record activities, and they can display learning throughout the school year. The teacher is able to monitor these and give feedback right away, which is so important in education, giving feedback so that they know where to go from there. And their learning process can be documented and tracked, which is really important so that the students can see how they grow throughout the year. And it gives students an opportunity to open up and participate without having to talk in front of the class, which, once again, to bring up the pandemic, I think a lot of students have anxiety speaking in front of the class now because they were just online for a few years. So I think this is a great way to kind of ease them back into that classroom setting.
Yeah, those are all great points. Actually, Erica had similar thoughts. So she thought Seesaw, it is a great website for building portfolios and collecting assessments. So that's definitely a keeper. And then there's she also mentioned Google Drive. And what's really cool about Google Drive is that parents can easily navigate the site and portfolio as well. So if parents want to see what their students have been doing, they could just click on, look through the folders, look through the grades, and just see how the student's been progressing.
Oh, awesome. So in keeping with the theme of communication with parents and guardians, we have this category as well. So Sydney said that she would use learning management system, so LMS again, like EDSB, because it's a great tool for communication. There's a comment section, there's activity feed where teachers can post announcements or photos of what happened in class that day, and parents can really stay up to date with what's happening in the classroom at that time. They're able to view a calendar to see what's coming up. A cool feature that I heard from Sydney was that they can also pin important information so that they don't miss anything and they can view their child's grades all together. They can also send private messages back and forth, between the teachers and the parents, which allows for quick and easy communication. So I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, that is. Erica had some really good ideas too, and they're actually quite different. So she brought up Remind. So she had never used this platform before, but she said it looked like an effective way to interact with parents and guardians and offer learning support at home. But she also mentioned a few other things. So, like using a website or blog to communicate with parents. This is so cool. Imagine having like your child's teacher's blog on your laptop and you can just see what they're doing every day. I love it. And then she also used Wix, so Wix.com. creates easy to use website, and it's easy and fun way to display information. There's also a weekly wrap-up blog post that you can do on Wix. And there's features to comment and like the blog posts that parents and guardians can ask questions and comments on their child's success. So cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it seems like they're both really passionate about really communicating with the parents and ensuring the student success, which is great.
Yeah, I would agree. So finally, we're going to talk about supporting critical thinking and problem solving. So Erica thought about Cami, and Cami, she came across it and thought it was a great way for students to collaborate, to answer critical thinking questions, and to solve problems about school material. So it is compatible with Google Classrooms, Google Drive, OneDrive, and it's a great way to store the material needed, as well as broadcast it and give feedback to students. I think it's so awesome that this website is compatible with so many different shared spaces and learning management systems, because sometimes you're going to want to use multiple things in the classroom. So that's great. And another thing that she did mention was Padlet. Padlet is really cool too. So it's a way for them to create and share their ideas, and the whole class can work on a page and add sticky notes, so they can think about questions and explore their classmates' ideas and look at other perspectives. It's a great tool.
Awesome. Yeah. So Sydney had similar ideas in terms of having students answer critical thinking questions and really reflect on their learning. So she suggested using Google Forms in the classroom. So that's part of, shared spaces, Google Drive, where teachers can refer back to these answers. And students can reflect on question and answers in different forms. So there's options for multiple choice, long and short answer. They're great to use at the end of lessons, in exit tickets, and everything like that. And within the Google Forms, students will be able to practice reasoning and justification skills. And once again, the form can be sent off to the teacher, and the teacher can refer back to them at any time, which is great.
Wow, I feel like we covered so much today, and we learned so much.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wrap it there. I hope you learned a lot from Erica and Sydney today, and I know I certainly did.
Yes. Yep. Thank you for listening.